In this video I'll show you how to level and then lap Naniwa Super Stone aluminum oxide sharpening stones. What we have here is Naniwa Super Stone 3000 and Naniwa Super Stone 1000. They're brand new, and there is no brand new stone that's ready for work out of the box. All of these stones need to be leveled. If we put the side of a blank to one of the stones and we bring it over to the light, we will see that there's a little bit of a saddle here. The rule of thumb is that in order to level a stone, you need to use silicon carbide powder about twice the size of the grain as the stone is. The Naniwa stones are 3000 gis and 1000 gis, which corresponds to approximately 1000 by FEPA or 5 micron grain, and 1000 gis would be roughly 550 FEPA or 14 micron. There isn't a silicon carbide powder which is exactly half the grain of this stone, so we'll just take the closest one, which would be for 3000 would be 600 by FEPA, and for 1000, which is 550 by FEPA, the closest one I have is 220. For this process we will need a piece of glass. The thicker the better. This is about 12mm glass. I have a little bit of a barrier here made out of the masking tape just to prevent water from spilling outside. You'll need a pencil, you'll need your silicon carbide powders, and you will need some water. I'm just using this syringe that I had laying around. But we will start with the finest stone, which is 3000, and we will move on to the 1000 afterwards. First we will need to take a pencil and draw a mesh on the stone like so, in order for us to see when the stone is flat. That's one, and that's the second one. Please do not use a marker or a ball pen on these, because both marker and ball pen ink will go into the stone and it'll look ugly. Now we wouldn't need a pencil anymore. Now we will need a little bit of water. Take 600 silicon carbide powder. Be very careful with this powder. Don't lean over when you're trying to get this out of your boxer bottle, because this powder is very light and you don't want this into your lungs, because silicon carbide naturally will not leave your lungs ever if you get it in. Alright, so be careful with that stuff. Now we have a little bit of powder, a little bit of water. Let's just mix them up and maybe add a little bit more water to the mix if need be, because this stone will drink it quite a bit. So we're adding a bit of more water. The best way to hold the stone is not like this, because you will be pushing the middle of the stone down, even though it's hard, quite a hard piece. But the best way is to have it somewhat like this. Where you completely control the size of the stone, either by holding both hands or just one hand. Now let's lift it up and see what do we have. So you can probably see that we're good on the sides. There is, however, saddle in the middle of the stone. That's what we need to get rid of. So let me put a little bit more water on this. let's go. Naniwa stones are rather soft, so we should be able to get rid of that saddle relatively quickly. One thing you want to do is try to use the maximum surface of your glass, because with time you will make a little bit of surface a little bit uneven if you just use the middle. And every now and then turn the stone 180 degrees. So if you are applying pressure unevenly, you can still equalize it by doing this. Now, as you can see, the pencil marks are completely gone. As I said, these are very soft and delicate stones, so you don't have to go hardcore on these guys. Alright, what we're going to do now, we're going to wash the stone, we're going to wash off this stuff before we go to the second stone. We'll be back in a minute. Now we have our stone clean. No pencil burnt, no pencil mesh, it's ready for lapping. We have our glass clean. Now we can go for 220 silicon carbide powder. And on this guy we already have the mesh. One thing, guys, do not wash this stuff into your kitchen sink. You don't want to mix this into your food. Right, so wash it either outside of your house with a hose or flush it down the toilet. This is very important. This stuff ain't no joke if you get it in yourself. It's not a poison, but it's an abrasive material that will damage your internal organs if you either swallow or breathe it in. Alright, so be careful. Now let's see what's the story with this guy. I already have some water this left out of the washing, so now what we're gonna do is this. Theoretically we should be ready within a minute or so. Let's have a look. Okay, as we can see, this guy needs a little bit more work here, and here is fine, and there is a saddle in the middle, which is no surprise. We should be ready with this guy in a minute or two. Alright, that's it, we're done. Right, so soft these stones are. Don't go crazy with these guys. Now we're gonna wash it off and we're gonna be ready to lap them. I'll explain what that is in a minute. Now we have everything washed off and now we are ready for lapping. What is it? Why do we need it? What we've just done is we've taken a little layer of the material of the stone. However, we gave it a grit of these two powders respectively, okay? So in order to bring it back to its own grit, we need to work with it a little bit with no silicon carbide or any other powder, just with itself. This only applies to these Naniwa stones because they're soft and there will be a little bit of suspension coming out of it, and if we work it a minute or two on its own suspension, its grain is gonna return to its natural grit and you'll have those stones as you want. Because if you use them like that right after these guys, you're not gonna get mirror polish because they are rough, right? You just made them rough. Best for that is to use a glass that was already used to level other stones. As you may see now, this stone started giving out its own suspension. That's what we want to work with. Okay, turn it around. Not too much. Naniwa stones are very delicate. You see the color here? This is what brings it back to its natural grit. Maybe 2-3 more passes this way, and it's good to go. Yeah, see, it's stuck a little bit there. That's it. I can even now feel with the finger. It feels like it's polished glass. But after this powder here, it actually felt a little bit rough. So don't forget to do this on your fine stones, otherwise you will end up, you know, screwing your good finishing stone and not understanding why it doesn't give you the desired results. So let me wash this off, and then we can lap the other guy and we'll be good to go. Now I have the 3000 finished. Now we'll repeat this for 1000. This guy, and these stones will be ready for work. If you struggle to find a piece of glass in your area, let's say you live somewhere where there is no workshop that works with glass, go to eBay or go to your pawn stretcher or a dollar shop or whatever the cheapest place is, and get yourself the cheapest weight scales. Yep, that's what this glass was. Just 4 little legs and a meter. Take the blade, scrape the legs off, scrape the glue off, take a little bit of thinner or acetone or whatever, clean it completely. That's it. That's your piece of glass. You don't have to be fancy buying all those expensive leveling kits. I think we're good. We certainly are. Right, now I'm gonna wash this off and we're done. Where do I get these guys? eBay. Search for silicon carbide powder. You'll get what I got. It doesn't come in these bottles. It normally goes in some other packaging, like plastic bags or whatever. Just find yourself some bottles, print out the label. A couple of words about these stones. These are cheaper than the 25mm inch ones. The reason why I got these is that I'm awaiting on a set of 25mm wide Naniwa Pro, which is a replacement for the legendary series Naniwa Cesare. These two guys, I will round the edges, leaving about 15mm of flat surface, and I'm gonna use them to finish recurved blades. When you finish leveling, always take the bevel off. On these guys, it's already taken off, so I just didn't do it. But yeah, I can just show you. So you just put it under the angle like that. Couple of moves this way. All right. Just run your finger, make sure the edge is not sharp, and you're good. That's it. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you would like to see more content like this. Have a good one, folks.